What's going on, guys? It's Asal, and today we're going to be talking about the Battlefield 4 winter patch. Now, this patch went live yesterday, and I actually got a chance to jump in and play it and get a break from my busy schedule. So there are a lot of changes in this patch. I'm not going to go over all of them, though I will leave a link to the full patch notes in the description of this video. So first of all, I'm going to go over some of these smaller changes that I kind of like, the nice little changes, you know, because sometimes a lot of little changes can really add up to make for a much more positive experience. So first of all, you can't spawn on a teammate that is in combat. Previously we could see like warning, but you could still spawn, and a lot of times you would just spawn and then die, which was pretty frustrating. So now you can't actually spawn on those players at all. And in addition to that, when you are spawning in on this player, or rather when you are wanting to spawn in on this player, you can actually see how much health they have, so you can kind of gauge whether this person isn't really in a life or death situation and whether or not you really want to spawn in on them. Now, another cool thing that we've added, this is similar to Battlefield Hardline. In the beta, when we got a headshot, we would see a red hit marker appear rather than just the standard white. So now we have this in Battlefield 4 as well. So when you get a headshot, you will have a different color hit marker, and also when you get the kill, you will have a different colored hit marker, and you can actually customize the colors of those as well, which is pretty cool. Now, another cool thing, footsteps are louder. Soldier footsteps are much louder, so you know, if you've got headsets on, you can much better hear players sneaking up on you, because I felt like a lot of the time I would get knifed in the back very often, and it was kind of difficult to hear those footsteps when explosions were going off, and it was easy to lose them in the chaos. So much appreciated change. Another small change, we have some collision issue fixes. Now what this means is, like, you know, like rocks and stumps and, you know, like tires and, you know, whatever's on the battlefield. Sometimes your soldier would get like stuck on them, and you kind of do this weird like jitter thing when you're trying to jump over them. Apparently that has been fixed as well. I haven't really noticed any issues with getting stuck on things, so that is awesome. Now the next change, I really like this. We have tracer rounds on all weapons now. So what this means is when you fire your gun, you can see the bullet, and you can, there's like a little, like, the bullets kind of look like orange, and you can kind of see where they're going. Now this doesn't really affect the gameplay at all, but for whatever reason, it just makes the guns feel like more accurate, and you feel more effective. It's more snappy. It's kind of hard to explain, but once you jump in and play around with this, I think you guys will like this change. Now, next change, I think this is kind of a big change for me at least. You can now customize your dot sights. So you can customize the size, the color, and the glow of your laser dot sight. So you can take, you know, your favorite sight, you can make it orange, pink, you know, you have the red, green, and blue sliders, so you can really make it any color, which is pretty cool. And some colors definitely work better than others. I was finding that violet seemed to work quite well, though green was also quite nice. This is really something that you're gonna have to play around and decide for yourself. Now, what's cool about this is, say for example, take the Cobra sight. Now, a lot of people argue that the Cobra sight is the best because it has a lot of texture. You can really see where your reticle is on the screen, but some people say it's like, you know, it's a little too big. It's hard to be nice and accurate with it. But for example, with this patch, you can take the Cobra sight, you can make it nice and small, so you still have a lot of texture on the screen, but it's much smaller, so it's gonna be much more accurate where your bullets are going. So you can really play around with this, and it's gonna kind of change how sights work a little bit, because you can take a sight that you might think is too big, and you can make it nice and small just the way you want it. Now, next we've got some network improvements to the game, or netcode improvements as some people would like to call them. Now, previously in Battlefield 4, what they had implemented was a higher frequency of refresh rate around the player. So what that means is things around the player would be refreshing at a faster rate. It went from like 10 hertz to 30 hertz. So what that meant was 30 times a second things would update around your soldier, so that, like, say someone who looks like they're behind a wall might not be behind a wall, and, you know, fix like that kind of thing. So what they've done to further improve this is they've added a cone in front of the player that goes, you know, quite a ways, so you can see quite far ahead of you and have that higher refresh rate zone be much further down ahead of you. So that's like a cone effect, and when you aim down sights, that cone effect, it goes for a longer range, so someone could be quite far away, but that player would still be updating at a higher refresh rate, so you'd be able to see, are they behind the wall or are they not behind the wall. Now, I did still have some cases where I was behind like a crate or something, and I ducked down and then I got shot, and it said it was a headshot, you know, stuff like that. Still not perfect, but overall I think it still is a step in the right direction. It was working a little bit better. Now, Next, the new game mode that we have. This is called Squad Obliteration. Now, basically this is Obliteration, but except it's infantry only, there's no vehicles. It's meant to be 5 versus 5, so 10 players, but for whatever reason I couldn't find any servers that were actually 5 versus 5. They were all like, you know, like 48 player Squad Obliteration, which was still actually pretty fun. So it works, it is played on the smaller variants of maps, so instead of like the whole map, you'll have like the deathmatch style of the map, and you know, it got pretty chaotic with some of the larger games, you know, like 48 players. It was kind of like a little bit of chaos on, you know, TDM, but it felt a little different because you have like TDM style and you've got this objective thrown in there, which was kind of fun because it felt like, you know, a team deathmatch game, which I like, but a lot of times I feel like they're a little too unorganized and chaotic. But you know, adding in the obliteration aspect to it kind of feels like, you know, it's like team deathmatch with like a little more flow, so you can kind of flow around the map, you can anticipate where people will be, whereas with, you know, like a game mode like team deathmatch, people could be anywhere and everywhere, and it just really, you know, there's not a whole lot of strategy to where people are gonna be. So those are kind of the major changes, in my mind at least, as far as the winter patch goes. There's lots more, I didn't cover everything. Again, the patch notes are going to be in the description. Favorite thing from the patch, honestly, the tracer rounds. I actually enjoy them so much for whatever reason. My aiming it just feels snappier and more accurate, and I really enjoy it. So what's your favorite thing about the Battlefield 4 winter patch? For me, tracer rounds probably one of my favorite things, and I'm interested to hear what you guys are thinking. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, guys, please leave a rating. I always appreciate that so very much. And if you're new and you've never been around before, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to see more Battlefield content. So guys, this has been Asal, and I will see you guys next time.